Hi, well, welcome back to my channel. In this video, or perhaps episode, we're going to try and revive this Aussie Icon. This car has been several mechanics. It's had a lot of stuff done to it. Nobody can get it going. It's been partly stripped since. A lot of components are missing and have been replaced also to no avail, and that includes several different keys, ECUs, immobilizers. This car will not start. I have a feeling that had they watched How to Pete, perhaps they could have got it started, but they didn't. So now we have a car that's partially stripped. Beautiful ute, with very low Ks too, about 140,000 Ks, and nobody could get it going. So How to Pete is going to try and get him going. Now just show what's under the bonnet. Okay, ECU has been replaced, I don't know how many times. So the poor car has been molested, and sadly it ended up being stripped because nobody could get it going. I think this video is going to be perhaps several different videos to cover this whole rebuild and getting it back to its former glory, because it is a shame they don't make them anymore. Yeah, it's just nice to have a nice Australian icon back on the road, at least according to me. Some would argue that it was never a good car and it should stay off the road, but that's not for me to comment. All right, let's do it. For the sake of this exercise, what I'm going to do is going to plug up the ECU, put a battery, and see if we can get any sort of sign of life. And if so, great. If not, I'm going to rip out all the stuff that's been added, as the old parts are marked as the originals. So I'd like to put the original stuff back in and then try it. This short one goes on the bottom. Lock him in. Second one. Something to make over this plug. Alright, now we're going to put a battery in and see if we can get any sign of life. Okay, now that we've got the battery in, so how we're going to determine if them replacing the BCM, the immobilizer, the ECU has actually fixed the problem or not, or whether they've put in a faulty ECU anyway. The only real way to do it is to get the keys and try and see if they cycle the doors. If they cycle the doors, well then you know that the immobilizer's talking, the key's talking to the immobilizer, that everything's fine, but the ECU won't start. So let's try that. This one does nothing. This key does nothing. None of these keys do anything. Okay, so now what we've got to do is we've got to go back to basics. We're going to rip everything out, including the body control module, the ECU, and the immobilizer, and see if we can get it to talk to the original key, and hopefully that'll do it. This car was only supposed to have the seats missing. That's what I was told initially. Unfortunately, it's got a lot of stuff missing. The reason I'm saying this is because I was told that there was 3 keys there. One of them was original, the other 2 were part of the changed over ECUs, etc, etc. Well, there was another key that I found amongst some of the bits that were in the car. Well, listen to this. This key seems to be doing something. So we're going to try and see if this one will, apart from turning the wipers on, is she going to crank? Maybe we should put it in park. She won't crank. Righto. Cycles the doors, which is what we want, and I bet you the starter relay is the problem. Okay, I would have lost that bet because the starter relay is not the problem. I made a rookie mistake, and the rookie mistake is the battery that I took off charge to put in the car is actually faulty and doesn't hold charge. So with another battery now, this is what happens. But she still won't start. Now we know that the immobilizer, ECU, BCM, everybody's talking to each other. So we got to do more homework. But this was the reason that this car was scrapped, because no one could get it to crank. Well, it's cranking. I think I know what might be wrong with this car and why it's not starting. But before I tackle that, I would like to replace the ECU, the BCM, the immobilizer back with the original, just to be 100% sure that we're not fixing an inherent problem with the new stuff. So once I do that, we're going to try and start it and see what happens. But meanwhile, this is what I think the problem is. See? She keeps cranking. I think the ignition is a problem. But I would like to know whether the faulty ignition was what caused them to change all the body control modules. Let's do it. The first one we're going to do is the BCM. Apparently, that's what it says there, original. And apparently it was diagnosed by Cool Drive that it was that the ECU was plugged wrong way. But nevertheless, I still want to put the original bits in and see what happens. So let's unplug him. That's the BCM. Now we're going to do this little baby. Supposed to be the original. And now we're going to go and do the SU in the engine bay. Okay, pop the cover up. Unplug them, press here, pull that back gently. There she goes. There we go. Alright, now there's a 7mm there for the earth strap, and then the other 4 are 10mm. So let's get the 7mm first. That's the earth. Now 10mm for the 4 mounting nuts. At this point, I could just mount the ECU, just do the earth strap to it, and plug it up and make it work for the sake of the exercise. However, I just want to do everything as it should be done to eliminate any bugs, because these Commodores are prone to earth issues, so we don't want to give it any reason. Oops, upside down, there you go. And that's actually quite interesting. See, if you go upside down, it won't it doesn't line up. Well, there you go, just learned something new. So it's only meant to go one way. Wow, there you go. And that one's got the little screw still there, so we'll just put him there. There we go. Two, three, four. We'll nip it up. Nothing too crazy, because we might have to take this one back off, depending what we find as a result of other people's work. All right, that's that. Now, the short one on the bottom. The long one on the top. This plug is a little bit funny. Something's going on okay, seems to be all right. All right, now what we've got to do is we've got to change the blade in the key. So this is supposedly the original key fob. This is the one that has been replaced that we got the car to crank with. So we need to take the blade off there, put it in here, and that'll be fine. Just to point out, I've seen people where they actually change the ignition because of that. No need. The ignition has no module attached to it, so therefore it's just a hardware bit, and you don't need to change it. Just change the blade and you're done. Okay, what we have to do now is reconnect the battery, and let's see what she does. Okay, now to reposition the camera and connect to the battery. Let's see what our original key with the original modules is going to do. Wow, that sounds like a bit of a start. That is unbelievable. So why was everything changed? Okay, we obviously have an issue because the fan is on, the cooling fan is on. But the car runs. Go figure. Alright, we'll call this one done. Thank you very much for watching. I think this will be all for this episode. Stay tuned for more to come. Thanks for watching How to Pete. Okay, just to recap. I've learned over the years that when people change things, doesn't mean that they diagnosed it before they're changing. Especially when it comes to ECUs and modules, 9 out of 10 times they're falsely diagnosed. As it turns out in this car, I was sort of right. I was only interested in the factory stuff, even though I gave it a good shot with the stuff that's been added, just in case. Unfortunately, the stuff that was added is not for this car. That's why it could only crank but no start. Now the original stuff, as you saw, started the car, and the car's still running actually. But it does have an issue with the thermo fans both working full stick. A couple of things usually cause that. One, faulty relays, or temperature sensor. I will be replacing it just to be certain. But now that the car's been running for a while, the temperature gauge hasn't budged at all, so it's it's making me believe that the coolant temp sensor is the culprit, even though I had a look at the relays, and one of the relays is discolored. Now, I would say that the coolant temp sensor has failed and has made it run over time, and therefore overheated and discolored the casing. That'd be my guess. I'm not sure. I will change this coolant temp sensor, and then we'll see what happens. That's all for now. The other thing this car is doing is it doesn't want to start. I have a funny feeling it's the ignition switch. So I'll be replacing that as well, just to iron out the problems. This could well have been a combination of two: coolant temp sensor shut the car down because he thought perhaps it was overheating, wouldn't let it start. They kept trying. Meanwhile, the ignition switch failed, and that was it. As far as the mechanical was concerned, it's a computer's problem. Don't worry about diagnosing it, just blame the computer. Rightio, that's all.